if they do that, they're going to be very, 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 very tough to beat.
That's why Hunter's in right there. Oh, got to shoot a three.
Wilson. Oh, and we are tied.
What a game.
Let's go.
Call the five slammer down.
And I don't ever let them forget where we come from.
Getting those phones out. You caught me acting ignorant, man.
Baylor empties it out. Because it's going the other way. Second pick of the night. Jeremiah Wilson finishes this one.
The dream is alive for Houston.
Go Coogs! Let's go! Welcome in to another episode of Let's Rage Coogs presented by the Saxenian Family. We're coming off a 74-54 victory for the second-ranked Houston Cougars men's basketball team in the polls, number one seed in the Big 12 tournament. And Houston, for the second year in a row in the Big 12 postseason tournament, is going to the championship game after really utterly dominating BYU in this game from start to finish. Jumped out to 15-0 lead, and I mean, quite honestly, never looked back. BYU they showed some fight, but it was nowhere near where it had to be in order for them to be able to overcome the deficit. Joining me, as always, Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, Dayon Dunlap. How are y'all doing on this Friday evening?
I'm doing great, man. We're talking about the real Cougs, showing they are the real Cougs and they run the Big 12.
Well, I got to start by saying again, happy birthday, Kris.
Thank you, brother.
I'm feeling great. Well, happy birthday. Cougs win. And I'm looking forward to the championship game. I mean, one step closer to the Triple Crown, as we phrased it, LRC.
And I want to say this. They won differently today with, sitting Juan down, a smart move. It was not necessary for him to play. The injuries, we don't believe, is so serious that he could not have played if needed. But the Cougs won with their perimeter game this way. Emmanuel Sharp looks like postseason Emmanuel Sharp tournament. Emmanuel Sharp is here. He's shooting the ball well. He's attacking. The basket is down. Love to see Emmanuel mixing it up offensively. LJ, the threes he missed rimmed out. He had one bad look. I think was tipped on a three, but his three-pointer was going. Sharp, Cryer, and Uzan combined for, 60 points, 60 of the 74 points. Beat you inside, beat you outside, beat you. This year's Houston Cougars.
And they held BYU to just 31% shooting from the field, 19 of 60, and 21% from the three-point line, 6 of 28 on their threes. This is the same BYU team who we mentioned last night after Houston had won their quarterfinal game and were about to play BYU, how well they shot against Iowa State, going 50%. Night and day difference in this matchup, and Houston just... from the beginning, it seemed like BYU was in rhythm. They were intimidated by the Houston. They just couldn't. They seemed out of sync from the get-go, and they were playing from behind the whole time, and they just were not comfortable at all over the course of the game. I would say, except that spurt when they went on an 8-0 run, that was the most that we saw from BYU. But Houston flat out dominated them outside of that flurry.
I mean, it started with defense. And really, it's just what we've done all year. I mean, rotating, running off the three-point line, not allowing them to get really any open looks. It really just didn't get comfortable. And so it was a good sight to see. But like Kris alluded to, I think Emmanuel being a versatile scorer versus just a shooter, which really takes his game to the next level and adds an extra dimension to our offense. But I really like what I've seen from all around. I think Milo's controlled the tempo of the game, did a great job of playing. He always plays within himself, but really controlling the tempo of the game and doing what he does. And LJ was just LJ, the El Capitan, did what he did. But it was the three-guard attack. And Emmanuel, he looks healthy. He always defends, even when he wasn't knocking down his shots. So to see almost like the best version of himself as we get close to tournament time, in which teams know the scouting report. You got to respect it. And I was watching the post-game show with LJ when he was talking with the ESPN cast, and they was asked him about him, and he was like, I mean, when he's knocking down a shot or not, he brings spacing, and that space allows LJ to get inside, pick his spots when the ball is in his hands. But with Milos, it really opens the floor, and Milos takes their offense to the next level when he's aggressive, getting inside the paint and just really being aggressive. And so, and really, I got what I wanted in reference to the last game, wanting to see the guards continue to play in a good rhythm, and they really was able to do that.
And Andy popped off because he had some technical issues. Hopefully, he'll join us momentarily. Yeah. But tonight's game differs in a way. I think we kind of touched on it yesterday. They were more locked in defensively from the jump. They were just locked in. They were on a string. They were aggressive. They ran BYU off the 3-point line. They were, man, I got to say this. Fran Fraschilla questioned BYU's toughness over and over in the game, man. First half especially. And, I mean, the numbers in terms of rebounding, it was kind of even in the first half. But in terms of physicality and the hustle plays and the 50-50 balls, Malik Wilson won every 50-50 ball. He said for him a Houston career high of 13 rebounds. They just were the tougher team in the first half for sure. And Fraschilla pointed out. So Houston was more locked in defensively. They got it going. Manuel Sharp set that tone, 3-pointers. And they just cruised to the victory after you cut it to, 15, whatever. Coach Sampson called
it to 13 when they went on the 8-0 run, 45-32.
13. Emmanuel hit those back-to-back threes, and that was it. that was it right there. So it was a great effort overall, and I see Andy get ready for now that you're back with us for the comments. Houston always plays to win. Okay, Coach Sampson's always going to play to win. So even if he'd have set Arsenault, Sharp, Cryer, and played Cedric Lott, Cornelius Jefferson, et cetera, he still expects them to play to win. So that is not an issue, as he says. If they're going to keep score, we're going to try to win. So that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying from a standpoint of I want Cougs to win today, the real Cougars. But I'm saying if they'd have lost, it would not have changed their seed line spot. That's what I'm saying. But they're going to play to win. And I would have said yes to this, Dos Real, if Duke would have lost to Carolina. They came close, but they still held on and got the win. Now, personally, I think keep it up there, Andy. I'm gonna keep it up there so you can say it. Give a plug. You got to move the middle stuff to the right and cover. Well, let's see if we can do something real quick. Let me do something real quick. Let's see how it looks. That's for now. Let's do it like that. I'm okay with that.
Well, the Pinto Leon law firm comment section, the immigration experts.
So yeah, I just wanted you to say it like that. So there we go. Okay. The Cougs have more quadrant 1 wins than Duke. The committee chair, Bubba Cunningham, said that when dealing with the same seed line, it could be as simple regarding placement on that seed line of which team has more quadrant 1 wins. Well, that's Houston to me. I don't believe they're going to be moved to the 2 spot, the second number 1. Do I have is it a major issue? No. Based on the quadrant 1 wins, I think they should just follow that, but they're not going to apparently. But shout out to Malik Wilson. His performance on the boards defensively, he's locked in. The only person, I'm going to say it differently than what we said in our group chat, is Terrence Arsenault seems to be lacking confidence in himself right now.
Yeah.
And once he gets out of his own way and out of his head, that'll be another plus for the Cougs in the tournament.
He's battling a double, whether it's mental or it seems like when he spoke to reporters on Monday that in the back of his mind, that Achilles injury is still lurking there because I don't know what's bothering him. He's done a lot of treatment, but every time he gets asked about it, you can tell the way he brings it up that it's lurking behind the back of his head. So there's a couple things that he's battling through mentally, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like many players, after that first year, it takes him a year away to get that confidence in the realm of mentally. But as outside of the injury, I see the confidence because he doesn't hesitate with shots. When players, in my mind, when I'm thinking lack confidence, they pass up shots, and I'm not seeing that. He just isn't making the shots. He's taking them. He just isn't making them. So in my mind, when I'm thinking confidence in the realm of basketball, I'm thinking, oh, it's a wide open shot in the corner. I'm hesitant. I'm not seeing that, but I will agree that, and I saw his comments, which you guys can see on our YouTube channel, Pod Slam and Gentlemen. He referenced the confidence with that Achilles, and I think we hear that a lot with athletes after the first year.
I'm more thinking about his defense. He's a consistent shooter.
He seems
that comes and goes. He seems to almost not be sure of his Achilles in terms of when he chops his steps on his closeouts.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting beat. Too many blow-bys for him on the perimeter, and it's like he's not sure of his leg to close out square in front of the ball handler. So that kind of thing is an issue for him.
Well, I think some of that is scouting report. You with BYU, you're closing out to make them drive by you. You're not closing out.
But he still gets beat off dribble too much. Period. Whoever it is, he got beat yesterday off the dribble. So
I don't know about that.
So he's defensively he's not in sync, and it's okay because Coach Sampson has so much trust in Malik. He can just Malik go in there and get Terrence, and I'll rotate my guards a different way, so and do it that way. But I think it's more he's doubting himself on defense. And even when he's posted up playing the 4 spot against bigger players, he's not sure, okay, should I 3-quarter this guy? Should I, I'm not strong as Cater. How should I defend him? That kind of thing. He's thinking too much on defense. I think that's part of it. And hopefully it can be corrected before the big dance starts, because I do believe at some point he'll be needed to make a stop, to get a steal. He got a couple of steals, the ball bounced his way. But we're talking about a 20-point win here. We're finding little bitty things to critique about the performance, and he's just one of them. He had one rebound today? 1
rebound in 22 minutes. That's got to be better too.
Yeah, he's got to be better, and he started. So 1 board and as a starter. That's LJ's not LJ's thing, but LJ had 2 rebounds. So that I think is an issue that he needs to work on, because he's probably going to get to start tomorrow. Because I doubt the Cougs play Juan tomorrow, even though he probably wants to play tomorrow. But what's the point?
On that note, let's take this opportunity to shout out our sponsors, and let's thank everybody that's taking the time out of their Friday evening / night to join us on this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, presented by the Saxenian Family. Big thank you to Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of not only this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, but all season long. The Saxenian Family has been the primary sponsor of the LRC postgame shows. Of course, we also like to say thank you to today's secondary sponsors, beginning with Star Pizza, with 3 locations throughout the Houston area. Star Pizza is your go-to stop before or after the game. Check them out online at starpizza.net or on social media at Star Pizza HOU on X and Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram. And of course, we also like to shout out BB's, the home of Tex Ordnance Cooking, who reminds you that it's crawfish season and they want you to stop by any one of their Houston area locations for the 5-pound mound. You can visit them online at bbstexordnance.com. And last but not least, we also like to shout out today's comment section sponsor. Give me a second to put them on there on the screen. But the Pinto Leon Law Firm, the immigration law experts, contact them at www.pintoleon.com or call them at 713-338-2879. So talking more about this game, obviously, well, listen, Emmanuel Sharp, shooting wise, I know you've touched on it already to open the show, but my goodness, he flipped that switch over the course of the past 2 games, and he's played really well, shooting lights out. But this has got to be really encouraging for Houston. And Kris, you alluded to how much of the offense was generated by these 3 players in this game, but Mr. Consistency, LJ Cryer, it seems like every night he's going to get you around that 20-point mark. He had 20 points again exactly in this game, and like you alluded to, 2 rebounds to go along with them. Milo Zuzan had a more Milo Zuzan game, 14 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 0 turnovers in 36 minutes, and they really stepped up and carried Houston in the absence of Juwan Roberts. Juwan Roberts did not play in this game either.
Yep. The perimeter game for the Cougs won today, rather because BYU outscored them in points in the paint 26-18. And much of that was second half points in the paint for them because Keba Keita was their scorer in the second half because the Cougs really shut down BYU's 3-point shooting. And you see a difference with Houston versus Iowa State yesterday against BYU. Iowa State was missing Keyshawn Gilbert and Taman Lipsey, perimeter players or better defenders for Iowa State. Would have been a better matchup for them. Without them, you saw BYU really got a lot of open threes, and they were just hot as well. Once a team gets hot, it just spreads. Opposite today, the Cougs locked them down, perimeter-wise. You could see how BYU's players, you could almost sense it sometimes. They were like, man, I don't know. This shot's not going to go in. This, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think you were just about to finish the sentence, but they definitely lack confidence. They look shaken from the opening tip, and you mentioned how Franz Frachilla was very, very critical of this BYU team, and he just flat out said they were getting punked in that first half, and they just. I was surprised with how lopsided it was. Now, granted, maybe it's just a matchup thing. It could be a reputation thing. Maybe it's just whatever the various factors are between Houston and BYU. But it looked like they were on a Houston and BYU didn't belong on the same court. It's like levels to this, which was interesting because it was night and day difference from what we saw them, how BYU looked like against Iowa State just yesterday.
I mean, one thing I think King McClure said.
To your point a second ago, Kris, they were out there best defenders. Sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, you're right. I mean, they missed Keyshawn Gilbert and Taman Lipsey, so that's a big factor as well. The Cougs had their best perimeter defenders. And matchups, physicality, BYU, like not all teams, but teams, perimeter shooting teams, they don't like physical play, a lot of them. And so if you can get that physicality early in the game and figuratively punch them in the mouth, BYU kind of takes a step back. And against the Cougs, you can't do that. If you don't match that physicality, you're not going to win, period.
I like how friend Frachella phrased it. He said, on defense, Houston doesn't allow teams to do what they want to do. Their defense forced them to do what they want them to do. BYU, what they want to do is shoot threes, drive and kick, a lot of NBA style offense, drive and kick and get some threes up. Houston,
catch and shoot threes.
Catch and shoot threes. And Houston's going to pressure the ball and run you off the 3-point line. So we follow the scouting report so well. I mean, they had to be physical in the sense, okay, once we get a drive, we got to attack and drive it, and they weren't doing that. So the second option, which they didn't want to do it, and it's credit to our defense.
And thank you for the birthday wishes, Complicated and Mr. Ignacio. Thank you as well. I am in closer to 100. I'm a little bit more than halfway there at 53. But it's just matchups is part of it. If I am Igor Dimon's agent representation, I will go to the internet and scrub his 2 performances against Houston. Because against Houston, he does not look like an NBA player. No. Period. Period. He struggled against the physicality. He struggled against physicality. A lot
struggle
of Big
against the
12 teams.
pressure, like somebody up in
Everything.
his grill guarding
Yeah.
them.
All
Like,
of that. So,
yeah, but to his credit, if he's in the NBA, he's with other great players who can he don't have to, he can catch and shoot.
yeah.
And
he'll get better in the future.
Right. No. Look at it in this way, Chris. In the NBA, he would be with a guard to where he don't have to worry about pressure. His role would be to shoot, a sniper, catch and shoot. All we need you to do is shoot from the three, like a Grayson Allen type player, like someone who can catch and shoot. And so I know I'm agreeing with everything you're saying, but I'm just saying in that next level, he'll be playing more to his strengths and catch and shoot, just to shoot.
Because the Cougs, and I like it how the Cougs, and it goes back to what Dayon said, and everybody who follows the Cougs has learned this, is Coach Sampson and the staff, they really, one of their main objectives defensively is to take away the number one option for the opponent. Make them go to their second, third option. If they don't have a deep bag, they're not going to get anything done against Houston. If all you got is one thing, the Cougs will take that away from you 9 times out of 10.
With that being said, let's welcome in Fluff McKiver, who's joining us. Fluff, first and foremost, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Doing great, brother.
Great.
Talking about a win.
That's good. We get another win. Let's talk about it. I know you guys kind of been on for a second. I'm just trying to fill in where we are.
Well, I see Ron's question is, and Ramon, they're going to try to get a red shirt for Ramon so he's with the team, but he's most likely he's not going to play this season. If this was a Houston versus Iowa State game, not if Iowa State without Keyshawn Gilbert and Taylor Lipsey, probably would have been the same thing, But it's matchups, and that's one thing, Fluff, I think you agree. Come the big dance, it's matchups. There are some teams that give the Cougs difficulty. As Dayon, I think you touched on it, as long as we've done LRC shows. If a team has 1 or 2 or 3 guys who can get their own, get buckets one-on-one, the Cougs have difficulty. Let's go get a bucket. Clear the floor, spread the floor, and go get a bucket. But if you can't play against the Cougs' physicality, you're going to have a problem.
Well, what I will say is that we definitely take your first option away. The other thing we do is, we don't like to give up middle. So a lot of times, help defense is taught. You have to help any angle of the floor, no matter what coach says. But if you really watch our team, even the game today, a lot of times we're icing you. Icing means like we're sending you to the baselines, and we're making it difficult for you. We don't help ball side. You know what I mean? So when you go and you make a move to the lane, a lot of times, if you really watch the guards, those are just difficult shots that we let you take. And we live with the percentages of you making a floater or you making a body to chest layup on Roberts or Tugler or Francis, any of our bigs, whoever it is, or even our guards. You know what I'm saying? We're taking that chance of you making those hard plays for yourself individually, and we're shutting everything off too. So, if you really watch it, we keep the ball out of the middle, and that's big. But like you said, Chris, guards that are kind of tricky, if you got it, then we give you the opportunity to show us if you got it. And 9 times out of 10, not saying you don't have it, but you'll have a tough night that night.
Like Coach Sampson said about Baylor's VJ Edgecombe, he's probably one of the best players they've seen, guard all year, because he's a different kind of dude. He is the NBA player that can get his. He can get his own buckets. But when the Cougs are locked in defensively and the rotations are tight, and BYU is a good passing team, swinging the ball around, but even that first half, the Cougs are right there. Any pass, the Cougs are right there. Malik Wilson came in with deflection. When you see the Cougs locked in defensively, you see them getting deflections, steals, and if by chance you happen to get by the perimeter, JoJo or Jay swat So I mean, that's how you know when they're locked in defensively. It's a thing of beauty, man. When they're on that string, oh, I love it.
Well,
Question for you: How far do y'all think BYU can go in the NCAA tournament?
Depends on the matchups.
I think 3. I might get punished for this, so not punished, but the BYU fans might be at me about this, but that's okay. I can take it. I think 3 is eye candy more than really good. I think the big guard is good, but I think it's more eye candy. 6'8", 6'9", playing a point guard. I think, but as far as really dominating an NCAA tournament game, I don't know if he can do that, and that's a big part of their offense and what they do.
Yeah, it depends on matchups because if they play a team who isn't really a defensive team and it's going to allow them to run the floor and get shots up for what they like to do, then they're going to have a chance because they can shoot the ball. So it's really about matchups.
Yeah, they can shoot that ball.
They can win shootouts.
Yeah, I think
they said post game. Yeah, we don't want the game to get it to the 80s and 90s because it'd be tough for us to win. If somebody tries to do that against BYU and it's not physical, they
want to play up tempo. We want to slow it down. We want to control the tempo.
Control pace. Yes, sir.
I think their playing style though it gives a cap to how far they can go, in my opinion. I think they have to shoot the ball really well for them to be able to have a chance to win. For them to be able to do that for 6 games, I think their ceiling might be 16.
But also with a big man Keita, if I remember his name, I watched the game. I believe it was against maybe Arizona, where
double tonight.
He can control the glass, and if they can, it's just about matchups, man. But I got a question from Fluff. As being a scorer like you are, for Emmanuel, who can shoot the ball so well today, who completed Let's Race Coogs shows, I've always talked about him going to the next level is being a scorer versus just a shooter and being able to, when they run him off the 3-point line, because that's a scouting report, run him off the 3-point line, be able to put the ball on the floor and whether get to the basket, play through contact, or just being a scorer all around. When it's getting to the free throw, all the different elements that go into scoring. What do you see from Emmanuel in that realm of scoring being more than just a shooter? I know his prototype, where if we're talking league-wise, but I'm talking about just in college.
I think that sometime in college, pro, or any level of basketball, I think sometimes players get put in boxes that they didn't choose to be in. So I think for Sharp, I guarantee if we went back to his high school highlight tape, I'm sure he's crossing over and spinning and wheeling and dealing. So I think sometimes guys find times to come out of their shell when the moment is big and the lights are bright. So I think that Sharp is kind of, especially his last 2 games. He had 26 today. I think he had 19 last game or 20. I think he's just showing that, no, I really play ball. I just play the role that has been given to me by our Cougars and our coaching staff.
Real quickly, I just saw this update from Joseph Duarte of the Chronicle. He said Juwan Roberts has a low lateral right ankle sprain, according to John Houston. Did not have significant swelling or discoloration when he woke up today. He's expected to sit out tomorrow in the championship game to heal for the NCAA tournament. But that's good news. A low ankle sprain, not significant swelling, no discoloration. That's the best news you could have hoped for if you're from the Houston camp perspective. And doesn't look like he's going to play tomorrow either. So,
well, I love the fact that Joseph got that from John Houston, because Coach Sampson got on us a few times during his media sessions. Maybe I should just bring in John Houston. You guys are going to ask me about injuries to players. So got that from the man himself. That's great.
I'll say
Andy's
this.
Been requested. Andy, go ahead and play post game.
Well, Fluff, were you going to say something real quick?
What I was going to say is that, Juwan, I used to fight with John Houston all the time. If you're not getting your ankles taped tightly, the 2 pair of socks are good, Juwan. They're good. But take the tape if you're not taking the tape, because if you take the tape, there's not a lot of risks and you spraining your ankle. You just have to get used to it. If you practice with it for 2 or 3 days, you'll be used to it for the game, and you'll feel even more athletic and more inclined to make cuts in whatever you do. So if you're not getting taped, Jawan, please get taped by John Houston. He's the best.
With that being said, let's real quickly let me plug the sponsors, and then on the other side, we'll hear what head coach Kelvin Sampson and select players had to say following their 74-54 victory over BYU. Again, this is Las Rage Coogs presented by the Saxenian Family. So big thank you to Steve Saxenian for being a primary sponsor of this edition of LRC. We also like to say thank you to our other sponsors. Beginning with BB's, the home of Tex Ordnance Cooking, who reminds you that it's crawfish season and they want you to stop by any one of their Houston area locations for their 5-pound mound. Visit them online at bbstexordnance.com. Of course, we also like to say thank you to Star Pizza with 3 locations throughout the Houston area. Star Pizza is your go-to stop before or after the game. Check them out online at starpizza.net or on social media at Star Pizza HOU on X and Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram. And last but not least, we also like to say thank you to today's sponsor of the comment section, and that is the Pinto Leon Law Firm, the immigration law experts. Contact them at pintoleon.com or reach them out via phone call at 713-338-2879. With that being said, let's go ahead and check out what head coach Kelvin Sampson and the players had to say following their victory in the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament.
Joining me on the dais now is Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson. He's joined by L.J. Cryer and Emmanuel Sharp. Coach, when you're comfortable, if you could just start us with some general comments about the game.
Well, obviously, having played them before, it helps cut down your prep time because you don't have to worry about personnel. But watching them on film, and I really hadn't seen BYU a whole lot. I mean, if you ask the coaches in this league, you're always focused on the next game. I don't really watch a lot of the teams play. But the first thing that jumped out to me was how much better, how much they had improved since January 4th. I mean, that was a long time ago. The job that Kevin has done with that team. And they got really good players, but, proud of our guys. Our defense is our defense, the way we rebound. The way we do things is we've been doing this for a long time. I mean, this is our, ever how many years it is going to these tournaments. But first half defense was outstanding. Second half, we wanted to spread them and driving because they were being really physical on the ball. We felt like we could get to the free throw line if we just drove the ball. But it was just a good win, You get a chance to play in a championship game. But at the end of the day, it's a 3-day tournament. The game tomorrow night doesn't determine the Big 12 champion. The regular season determines the Big 12 champion. That's why you play 20 games. We played a game on December 30th, and we played the last one on March 8th. And over the course of 20 games, we decided who the Big 12 champion was. Now, in this little three games in 3 days, it's an awesome chance for the Big 12 to show how great this conference is. And BYU is going to get a great seed in the NCAA tournament. They're going to be a tough out for whoever plays them. Again, really impressed with the job Kevin's done, and happy with our guys. Obviously, having J1 out, we had to shuffle some things around, but whether that's good or bad, I mean, we're used to having guys out with injury here the last few years, and so we just plug somebody else in. And Malik Wilson's he's been our best rebounding guard all year. He's our best rebounding guard. I thought his discipline tonight was outstanding. If I just say what was the biggest difference in the way we played in our best defensive wins, whether it's at Arizona or at Kansas or at West Virginia, was our defensive discipline. I thought our discipline was outstanding tonight.
Okay, our first question is going to be on the second row here on the left.
David Smale, Field Level Media. Coach, 26 three-point attempts. Was that the game plan going in, or was it just what the defense gave you?
Yeah, I would say the latter, what the defense gave us. But if you look at, I think we're the number one three-point percentage shooting team in the league, if I'm not mistaken. But look at who the guys that were shooting it. LJ Crier's has made 90-some threes this year. Emmanuel Sharp probably would have made 90-some, but he was injured and missed a bunch of games with injury. And then who's the other one? Milos. I mean, all those guys are all 40% three-point shooters. So I like their fearlessness, and they all have the freedom to make the right play. I thought our basketball IQ and our discipline was outstanding tonight.
We're still on the left on the fourth row back.
Emmanuel, you hit 2 back-to-back threes right after a TV timeout, kind of killed any momentum that BYU had. Walk us through what Coach said in that timeout and how you guys were able to kill BYU's momentum.
We knew they were going to go on a run. We just had to, survive it. And, we made some dumb plays, me included, at the beginning of the second half. And that's really what it was. Once we cracked down on that, we started playing better. Once we made better decisions, that led to us getting baskets and, kind of putting the fire out a little bit. But, yeah, there wasn't much to it, just cracking down on mistakes.
Okay, please raise your hand. Let us get a wireless mic to you. Back here on the left on the second row.
Coach, I'm going to ask your thoughts about Arizona or Texas Tech tomorrow night.
What's the question?
What are your thoughts on Texas Tech or Arizona playing them tomorrow night?
Well, when we figure out which one we'll play, I'll give you my thoughts.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Coach Sampson, man.
Nah, as media, you got to have a better question than that.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's a poor question. Like, you can't come up with nothing better than that.
But I like you got up. I'm done.
We muted, Fluff.
There we go.
Oh, sorry. He was like, I'm done. I'm out of here, man. I'm done.
He stood up. Yep, I'm done. Yeah. Oh, man. But
he like, when I figure out who we're going to play, then I will tell you.
Yeah. Then when we know who wins tonight, then I'll give you a scouting report on them. I'll give you my thoughts. But looking at the box score, Terrence Arsenal played 22 minutes. I think that's right about his limit this season. I think some point, maybe in January, February, he told us, or Coach Sampson or John Houston said he plays about 21 minutes. And after that, that's about it for him. So he played 22 tonight. And
he said he's saying he said that?
No. John Houston, everybody said that. John Houston, Coach Sampson, he played 22 minutes. So it seems like his leg has not gotten past that, because he still says it flares up a little bit. It still bothers him, like after practice, things like that. So,
Fluff, have you ever had a teammate or just been around anyone that tore Achilles? I mean, I'm hearing I've had takes after that year, but with you hooping for so long, have you ever had experience anyone around there as far as how long it takes a roll to recovery after to really get back to yourself?
I played with a big guy. I don't want to say his name. I played with a big guy in Turkey, and he never was the same. Like he came back good. Like so, like I played with him my first year, and then he ended up getting hurt that year. Then we came back there next year, and he just never was the same. He just, and I'm not. But I mean, this guy. I mean, Terrence has done it. Has this? He's young, so it's a little different. But I mean, Achilles are tough, man. It's more of it's more of a confidence thing to push and turn and twist.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I but like, we talked about maybe earlier a little bit briefly, I hope that does get better for him. But as far as moving forward, I want to know what you guys thought on this is, do we give Miller a little more a different not a different but more of a little look of what maybe he can do with maybe 6 or 7 more minutes?
I think it's too late in the season to experiment with anything like that. Yeah, I think it'll be by necessity. Like we'll have to need him on the court for him to get more minutes or something like that. I think it's too far down the line to expand the rotation.
But D, how many times do we see in a tournament like around this time of the year when somebody who kind of struggled to even get going, they find a role? And I mean, I know the percentages are low, but we're gonna need, this is my opinion, we're gonna need somebody off that bench that can get us a bucket when we really need one. You know what I'm saying? And crucial times, like okay, Wilson had 13 rebounds. He gives us what he has to give us, but I think we need, and I could be wrong, but I think we need one more guy off the bench that if Ooze is struggling or Cryer is struggling, could come in and give us that spark plug of consistent offense off the bench. I could be wrong, but I think so.
No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. And I think that's what Coach Sampson was teetering with early in the season. He was between Mercy and Malik. Who was going to earn those minutes? Mercy was getting a look, but Malik ended up being more consistent in earning those minutes. So I think, and just from following the Sampson since I've been at Houston, what was it, 2015? Once this rotation is set and they earn their roles for the season, it's set. It's not going to be, if he's struggling, we'll go to L. It's not going. I get what you're saying, but he's just not going to get that opportunity. He's just not going to get it, unless it's by foul trouble or something happens, and then we need him. Like, okay, we gotta put him in. Then he'll be in there. But we're gonna have to. He gonna find a way to get somebody else. He gonna call it for whoever's on the court to give him opportunity to get a basket. It ain't gonna be off the bench. I get what you're saying, but Sampson don't roll like that. It's not a bad thing, but just from what I've seen.
I'll say this: if folks is commenting that Terrence was limping at the end of the game, the injury, and especially if he's limited to about 20 minutes a game, maybe this Achilles, maybe he shouldn't play Saturday. Maybe the Achilles is not to a point where he can play 3 straight games, 3 games, 3 days.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, Juan is not going to play tomorrow, most likely. So Mercy might get some minutes tomorrow, but he won't be asked to score. He'll be asked to not mess up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right. Really, don't turn it over. No, be solid. If you get a layup, something like that, okay. But just be
early in the year. Early in the year, Kris, we start plays for him out of bounds, drawing up for him to catch and shoot. And so if Terrence don't play tomorrow and Mercy plays extended minutes, I'm gonna disagree with you, Kris. He'll have the ball in his hands with opportunity to score. It'll be the same offense, but with him playing more minutes, he'll have more opportunities to get more shots. I think with that.
Well, I mean, because it's going to be 4 guards, so it'll be Malik, Emmanuel. Well, if it's 4 guards, at times it might be Malik, Emmanuel, Los, and LJ, and then come off with Mercy and see how he does. But as long as it's Mercy, LJ, Los, or Emmanuel, he'll be the fourth option, so he won't have plus plays run from him for him in that situation.
Yeah,
Now,
I don't think if
early
he
in the
plays
season,
run from him, I'm
you know,
just saying in the role, if he takes some of those extra minutes, some of those shots that Terrence will be getting, it's not many plays run from him, but some opportunity where he catching and shooting. Mercy would be able to have more opportunities to shoot the ball. That's kind of what I'm saying. I agree with you 100%. They ain't gonna be drawing it up for him,
especially if he's on the floor with LJ, Milos, and Emmanuel at the same time. Just
right,
by them
right.
being on the floor, it's going to create
Exactly.
more opportunities. But we'll see if he gets those minutes to be on the floor with them consistently.
And he has to do a good job of not being a turnstile defensively.
Yeah, that's what's going to keep him on the court. If he can, play good defense, get rebounds, don't be the weak link out there on defense. Then he's going to be able to earn the right to be able to play with those players and have the opportunity to get more shots.
Hey, Andy, you sounded like you was in your coaching mode right there when you were just talking.
Coach Yanez,
yeah. Let you know that.
I heard that.
I want to let you know that.
Yep.
You went into that because I know what that mode is. You went into that like you were talking to one of your players. I wanted to let you know that I caught that. But
yeah,
I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Fluff.
Right. Yep. So tomorrow it might be a 7-man rotation or 6 or what is it? 7?
I say 7.
Yeah, they'll have 7. I don't think they'll
7
put too much minutes on the starters.
And he might out of necessity, but Coach, as you heard in his post game comments, and I'm glad he said it. I think all of us feel the same way. The Big 12 champ is the regular season champ. Okay, the tournament champ, that's different. 3 games, 3 days, whatever, you win that, okay, good for you, whatever. But the Big 12 champ is a champ that got it done over 3 months, and that's the Houston Cougars. So if injuries limit players' availability tomorrow, Coach is still going to try to win. He's always going to try to do that, but he's not going to risk LJ, Emmanuel, Los, JoJo, whoever playing a 40-minute game, and it's a rout. He's not going to do that because he has eyes on the prize, and that's winning the chip. He's getting the 6 wins after tomorrow. So if that means we see Cedric Lott play 10 minutes, 15 minutes tomorrow, Cornelius Jefferson, we might. That's okay. Because of foul trouble, because of injuries. All right. The Cougs still Big 12 champs. They still won the Big 12 by 4 games because Fluff, as I said, and we're proud of, Houston still runs this conference. Win or lose tomorrow, Houston still runs this conference. Period.
Agreed.
I'm looking at some of the comments. This is a good one from Not Too Complicated. Has Malik Wilson played himself enough to get a G League contract?
I think people need to be educated about how this thing works.
Hold on, before you go, Fluff, can we first start with Summer League? I mean, you skipped the whole step. Can he play his way into playing in a Summer League first? And then talk. I mean, go ahead, Fluff. Go ahead. I'm just like, come on. You skipped the whole step. Go ahead.
Well, to break it down for you, brother, is this. Well, when you say play yourself into the G League, I mean, you could be somebody off the street and go try out for the G League. And if you're really amazing, they'll let you play. Now, there's levels of going to the G League. There's going to the G League with a name, and then there's going to the G League just trying to get on. In his situation, with Samson behind him and, all these people that'll be behind him, I don't even think that they would tell a kid like Wilson to go to the G League. I think they would tell him to go and get that money across the water.
Yes.
Initially, instead of chasing that and making them respect what he's doing over there. And then maybe he comes back after he's made $400,000 or $500,000, he'll come back and say, I'll give it a try. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, if I could tell any young kids from experiences, from my own experiences, if you leave out of college with a big time name and your team was very successful and they got lucrative contracts for you that make sense and that have some guarantee in it, that's what you should take. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because the G League, no disrespect, if you're not Bronny, if you're not guys that are already with two-way contracts and all that, I promise you, I played in it. I promise you, you wasting a lot of time. So I don't know if that's an option for him. I think, for a kid like Cryer, for LJ Cryer, who might be like right there, that might be good for him to do early on in his career. But even him too, who knows? Like your first stop when you leave the house every morning is going to cost you. So you should try to chase as much financial stability as you can. So that's what advice I would give to Wilson if he was asking me.
Yeah, Al, hi. Thank you for that,
Shout
brother.
out.
That's
Yep.
one of my brothers from part of the BS3 network family that I'm with on Thursdays. Part of the Houston Round Bar Review Takeover for my noon show. I met him a few years ago through the BS3 family. Thank you for that, Al. Appreciate that. Fluff made a great point, man. If you can't get a two-way contract or something like that from the big club to go down to the G League, most likely you're going to get more money playing overseas. You can go to the right league, you get guarantees and all that. So it's better for you to go overseas and play well. And then if you get the eyeballs on you, NBA team personnel says, hey, this young man over here playing in Italy, Spain, or whatever, he can help us. Then they bring over like that, but go overseas, man. Yeah. If the money, and I don't think because G League money is great if you are a first round pick, you're getting paid by the big club.
Right.
If you're not getting paid by the big club, go overseas.
Exactly. And I think people got to understand too, man. And I didn't realize it until I was going on my journey. Everybody is gonna go on their own journey in this, era of players. But one thing I'll say too, for guys who have aspirations of being coaches, being trainers, and of course, there'll be dads with kids that play the game. I tell you what, I learned so much basketball. No disrespect to Coach Penders, he taught me so much. Coach Harrison, Coach Hobby, all those guys, Preston, all the guys. I hope I don't.
Oh, well, real
Shut
quick
up.
I don't know what happened to Fluff, but thank you, Ace Times Finance, for the birthday wishes. Hoop and Holler, thank you for the birthday wishes. Appreciate that. My brother Dayon started the show off with a birthday wish. Appreciate that. So, hopefully Fluff, there we go. Fluff will come back. But to the point, Coach Sampson has enough contacts in the NBA overseas. He's going to do what's best for Malik. He'll have a sit-down conversation with Malik, his people, his family, and give him advice and say, hey, man, go overseas. You can get six figures overseas.
He told that to the board, man, Justin Gone.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin, same, he's getting a lot of the guys. And coach, as we know, he'll have those direct conversations. He's not going to BS them. He'll tell them, hey, guys, right now, you're not getting NBA looks from teams. That's what I'm hearing from scouts. That's what the NBA draft advisory board is saying. But I got you a spot over here in Spain or Germany or France, whatever, where you can make six figures. Go get that money. Don't give up on your dream, but go get that money.
It's a Yorkie, not too complicated. It's a Yorkie.
I also hopefully we can get Fluff on in a second, but who would you rather see tomorrow? Houston, for Houston's opponent, would you rather see Texas Tech or Arizona?
I mean, I'd like to see JT Toppin see how he does against the Cougs. But Caleb Love, Arizona. I mean, both teams are good teams. I want to see a competitive matchup, but I don't have a particular
You're on
opponent
to
that I care about. Yeah, Fluff, you
you're
get it.
on to Sunday. You're on to Sunday, huh, Chris?
I'm waiting for what selection show. Where the Cougs gonna be sent? That's what I want to know.
I would say I would rather see Tech, just because I think that's another. I was Arizona vote is really good as well, but I think Tech is a more of a complete team and what can give us another really competitive game that can really help us get ready for that following week for what's to come.
One final test before the big dance, huh?
Yep.
TTO, I want to run that back. I'll say this though, is that I think either game is good, Texas Tech or Arizona, because we'll be shorthanded. So the fact that we're shorthanded, if we could get this done with us being shorthanded without 13, and eliminate Terrence, eliminate Arsenal, I think that that'll give us even more confidence going into the tournament that we were able to pull off the Big 12 championship with, being shorthanded. I think that that'll be even bigger for us going into the tournament to go 6-0.
I look forward to what were we saying before you went off camera? Yeah. Thank you, Miss Wanda. What was the point? Do you remember what you were saying before you went off camera, Fluff? Before you got knocked off?
Oh, sorry about that. Miss who? What's her name?
Miss Wanda. She's the
Miss
queen of
Wanda, how you doing?
support.
So
yeah, big thank you. Shout out to Wanda.
Shout out to Wanda. What I will say is this: is that what I was saying was to go overseas and get that experience of playing their type of game and playing, you know what I'm saying, they're living in their culture and all of those things. You don't realize it at the time, but we see NBA guys, we see former overseas guys, and of course a lot of former D1 athletes that were big time. When you think about it, everybody becomes a dad, trainer, coach, or all three in one. So this experience of going to Europe and learning the game from those people over there, has done a great service for me as far as what I'm doing. It's a great advantage to have the American lens on the game and also the European lens on the game. And that's what, I feel is a big advantage for myself, being able to get a lot of years of those teachings. And so, basketball is going to be over with for everybody that ever played the game. It's going to always be over with. And if anybody could pick, they will want to be around it. So that Europe situation and that Europe experience is really, really, truly big for when you're done playing and then you have aspirations of coaching and being a trainer or, a mentor for these young adults that's coming up after you.
Fluff, I'm curious, what are some of the biggest differences between basketball in America and basketball overseas?
Well, the biggest difference is patience. The biggest difference is patience over there. And I won't give everybody everything, but what I will say is the biggest thing is patience. When they're developing kids, they're solely thinking about them being ready for whatever situation that they're going to have come their way at 18, 19 years old. They're not really, going, we're the number one team in the country in fourth grade or fifth grade or sixth grade. They're not really doing that. They're solely dived in, really developing their kids to be pros. And that's why they're pros and ready to play in the pros more than some American kids, because the hoopla is not important to them. It's just getting better. So that's the biggest difference. And also the love of the game. The love for the game, of course, is more the money, because they make nowhere near what the NBA players. They make a good living, but they make nowhere near what an NBA player makes. So the love in their heart and what all those pros that are coming through, they're giving it back to their kids or their nephews or the people from the club. And another big difference is most kids, like if you watch a Luka Doncic or anybody that come from over that way, is that they play where kids play AAU here, they're playing on their club team there, meaning like it's more like minor league baseball there. So that's why you see guys come into the major league and be more ready to play at 19, 20, because they've been coming up through the club the whole time and running the same plays, going through the same type of practices. So when they're 15, 16, they're ready to play in the NBA. So, that's the biggest difference. You know what I mean? Of the biggest differences from America and Europe.
Gotcha.
And of course, now Australia, their basketball, their pro leagues have come up. So it's different options. China as well. So it's different leagues for players for the Houston Cougars if they want to continue that pursue that pro dream. Coach Sampson is going to do right by his players.
100%. And just good promotion for the Cougs. If you play for the Cougs, guess what they say overseas when you get over there? You know how to win, man. You know what it is to be a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So when high school kids, when you're picking your school, make sure you're going to pick situations like the University of Houston where the culture is about winning and it's about teaching you how to have winning habits for life, because that's going to go far for you way when basketball is over with. So Coach Sampson, like I said, I didn't get a chance to post it, but I definitely will, is to watch that man cry and tell him how much he love him and he gonna miss him. Can't nobody tell me nothing about our coach, man. He is the man, because only women make themselves cry, but a grown man, you could tell when somebody when that stung him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think those tears are how he feels about all his players, as far as what he'll do, what the measures he'll do, and go for them to be successful. So Wilson would be super fine.
Yeah, and winning programs in the NBA, in any league, they win for a reason. The majority of their players come from successful programs, winning programs, part of the winning culture. And there are, if it comes down to two players of similar ability, and one comes from a winning program like Houston and has the mindset of being a team player, doing all those things, and one comes from a program, he just got his.
Look at Tajay Morris, who's coming to mind.
Most teams gonna pick the Houston Cougar player because he comes from a winning program. He's established that he's learned from that culture to help a team win. When he goes through that adversity, it won't rock him and knock him off the boat, and he goes his own way. He sticks with the team, and that's part of it. I mean, there are NBA scouts. You can describe, if I've heard scouts talk about it at UH games, at Rocket games. Man, if I told you there was a 6'4" guard who rebounds and defends and is tough, and I gave you one college that he played for, who would you say? Almost all of them say the Houston Cougars. Almost all of them say that, because that is the reputation that they have established in the pros.
Well, that being said, it looks like we're going to start to wind things down for this edition of Let's Rage Cougs. Once again, the final score from Kansas City in the Big 12 tournament semifinals. The top-seeded Houston Cougars come away with the 74-54 victory over BYU. Emmanuel Sharp led the way in scoring for both teams with 26 points, 4 rebounds. LJ Cryer added 20 points, 2 rebounds himself. Milo Zuzan had 14 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 0 turnovers in this outing. And Malik Wilson had 5 points, 13 rebounds, which, like you said, Kris, is a career high. Emmanuel Sharp's 26 points, they were a season high, tied a season high for Emmanuel Sharp. This stat I didn't mention earlier, and I did want BYU's 54 points A new season low for BYU. The previous season low, 55 points, which also came the hands of the Houston Cougars. So just not the great matchup for BYU when it comes to running into Houston. Once again, the Cougars will return to action at 5 p.m. Central Time tomorrow in the Big 12 Tournament Championship game. They will play either Texas Tech or Arizona, who are currently playing to right now, actually. And the score of that game is it's a 1-point game with a 3:34 left in the first half. Arizona leads 35-34. So that'll be a good one to see who Houston faces in the championship game. Before I toss it over to y'all for your final thoughts, just real quickly, a big thank you again to today's sponsors. This is Let's Rich Coogs presented by the Saxenian Family. Thank you to Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of this edition of LRC. A big thank you to the Pinto Leon Law Firm for being the sponsor of the comment section like you see on the screen currently. The Pinto Leon Law Firm, the immigration law experts, contact them at pintoleon.com or call them at 713-338-2879. Big thank you to BB's, the home of Texas Ordnance Cooking. It's crawfish season. They want you to stop by any one of their locations for their 5-pound mound. Do so by visiting them online to see what other offerings they have at bbstexordnance.com. And last but not least, a big thank you to Star Pizza with 3 locations throughout the Houston area. Star Pizza is your go-to stop before or after the game. Check them out online at starpizza.net or on social media at Star Pizza HOU on X, Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram. And I'd like to take the time to thank Mike Pittman personally for having us out at one of their Star Pizza locations earlier today. And we had a blast. So stay tuned for that, Chris. Big thank you to Mike for letting us go home with some pizza and had good chatter, good conversation.
Yeah, and Dayon, well, Fluff, you too. When we go off air, hang around. We got some news to share about earlier today. Ron HD, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. Appreciate that. Everyone.
Today your birthday, Chris?
Wish me happy birthday. Yes, sir, brother. I'm 53 years young. Yes, sir.
Man, happy birthday, young fella. I know you turned 24 last year, but 25, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great, brother. I'm feeling great.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up.
And it's great to see go around the sun again and talk a Cougs win, a Houston Cougar win over the other Cougars in the conference.
I told you I was going to be big for you.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it. Real quick, I want to touch on this comment. MC, thank you. Folks chime in on Twitter. The numbers are big, man. It's really good. Justin, a Rocket, contributed to the shows as well. What was it? Your thoughts on this? Based on Jamal's success in the NBA, does the league need to reevaluate how they perceive a first-round pick? Fluff?
I mean, yes, because a lot of times when you make a first-round pick, teams have to start asking themselves, are they making picks for what is the popular pick to make or for what the team needs? Because
that's a team-to-team basis, though.
Say it again?
That's a team-to-team basis. They don't go for all teams, in my opinion.
Right. True team-to-team base. But I think that some, like you're right, D. I think some teams need to reevaluate that. Great point, brother. Some teams need to reevaluate how they're picking and if they're picking for popularity or picking for need. And Jamal is showing that he can play. There's guys that can play that miss out on being first-round picks. And if he doesn't get hurt yet last year, he's probably a top 25 pick we might have would have won it. I'm not sure, but it definitely hindered maybe his stock a little bit by getting hurt in the Sweet 16 last year.
And NBA teams, to Dayon's point, they draft for different reasons. Right. Some NBA teams do not have great player development programs. Some NBA teams are more flash over substance kind of players. There's different reasons for it. But Jamal, I want to say he got a guaranteed contract from the Raptors. Like a 4-year deal. So he got good money from the Raptors. And there are a few teams who are smart and realize the importance of second-round picks. Go ahead.
And Toronto's is one of them. Yes. They're one of the teams that know how to draft, know how to eye talent, and know that, okay, other teams are drafting for some of the reasons, like Fluff said. Think they got Fred VanVleet undrafted. Look what he's doing right now, and so that's one of the teams. That's one of the teams that knows how to draft and knows how to value players and knows how other teams value players. That's why I say it's a team basis.
And you're right, D, because a lot of people don't realize that the value of players are within the culture of the league, not ESPN, not TNT, not whatever station or network that we watch who commentates and whose opinions are being broadcasted out. The league has its own fraternity on what's really needed. That's why you see a guy like Kyle Lowry still playing. That's another example to your point, D, of Toronto seeing the value in that player that the Houston Rockets didn't see and that the Memphis Grizzlies didn't see. And they're like, nah, I think he's a champion. And whether they ended up, winning an NBA championship with him. So you're right. I think it's a team-to-team based. Great point. But definitely it's a reevaluation on all of it. We'll probably talk more off air about that one, but it's a reevaluation on all that as far as first round picks.
And some teams, well, a lot of NBA teams also draft for potential.
True.
Like Justin saying about Jamal compared to Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard had 1 year of college. He wasn't ready to have an impact his rookie year, but being a lottery pick, everybody said, go pro. You're a lottery pick, man. You got guaranteed money coming in and a lot of money coming in to you as a lottery pick, but he was not going to have an impact. In my opinion, I'd not expect him to have an impact with the Rockets this year. Some folks,
you might disagree with this, Chris. I think he's ready, though. I think he's ready. I don't think he's ready to be a star, but I think Reed Sheppard is ready to definitely be a 7th to 8th man on the Rockets, but there's just no room for him, Chris. It's not really that he's not ready. There's no minutes for him. It's like
we're going to disagree on that one because he had no confidence in his shot in November and December.
You're around more. You're around the team more.
I mean, no, that's the reason why he was drafted so high because of his shot. And when he started passing up his shot, he was hurting the Rockets because he's a shooter. And the Rockets, one of their biggest weaknesses is 3-point shooting. So when he passed up shots and started thinking about them, I mean, Coach Udoka's like, Reed, I know your defense is not ready, for me
Definitely
as the NBA defensive coach, but at least you're on the floor, shoot that rock. And he wasn't even doing that. So he's gotten better. He had spent like a cup of water in the G League. He showed he was better than the G League. And he came back.
He went down there and got 50 as soon as he got off the plane.
Right. So he got some confidence right there. So now he's injured. He's out for I think 4 weeks with a thumb injury. But initially, as a 3-point shooter, and he stopped taking threes, he was hurting the Rockets. Right. So they're like, we can't use you if you're not going to shoot the ball. So, but different guys, NBA teams, they draft on potential. More and more teams the last couple of years, I think, are realizing, it's a good thing to draft juniors and seniors because they can have immediate impact because they got that experience. They're probably stronger physically than an 18-year-old kid, a 19-year-old kid who may have higher upside, but he's not ready to contribute to you directly his rookie year. Whereas Jamal Shead, been around, Jamal's physical, Jamal is experienced, Jamal knows a lot of the ins and outs. So he's had that impact his rookie year with the Raptors.
Quickly, a scoring update on the Arizona-Texas Tech game. Arizona leads Tech 47-39. That game's about to go into halftime. So the Wildcats with the first half advantage as they head into halftime. Looks like we lost Fluff there for a second. But Chris, I'll toss it over to you. Any final thoughts on Houston, BYU, and looking ahead at the championship game? Just final thoughts in general.
Appreciate it. Well, yeah, just figure out a way to
change the banners around.
There we go.
There we go.
Andy on it, man. Fluff. You see, Andy's with the quickness he can change things like that on the fly.
I seen it. He the man.
Yeah. But thank you everybody for the birthday wishes from our brothers, from the LRC family. It's great to talk about another Houston Cougars victory, 20-point win over BYU. We're going to do it again Saturday, another Let's Rage Cougs post-game show, the original post-game show for Houston men's hoops and Houston football. Subscribe to the Houston Round Bar Review on YouTube. Subscribe to Pod Slamma Jamma on YouTube. It's going to be a long ride, I think, family. This team, I think, has seven more games to play this season. And I think they can win the last 6. You know what that means? That means Andy and Dayon and Fluff will be having their cameras out recording me crying ugly cries in San Antonio, but it's all good. So lastly, thank you to our sponsors, our supporters. Thank you to everybody. Enjoy this ride with us. We're going to do it again Saturday. And as always, since 1994, the Houston Round Ball Review. Local name, global perspective.
I just want to say thank you for being on the podcast. I know I say it every time. Such a beautiful thing to be with my brothers and my Cougar brothers and former alumni. Just watching how amazing this school of ours is doing. Shouts to my program, Elm City Elite, and all the kids that are involved in it. Keep reaching for the moon. One thing I can say, is I hope the University of Houston is showing the world that no matter how far down you are, you can always come up if you believe in yourself. And I think our university is an inspiration more than basketball. And I want to say that I'm very thankful to be part of that alumni.
Well, I also got to give a shout out to my program. I'm coaching the 5th grade team, Pro Life Elite. I'm excited. Our first tournament is next weekend. We've been building all month, practicing during the week, installing some things. And so I'm very excited to go on this journey with these young fellas. And I'm always happy to be alongside my brothers, KG, Andy, and of course, Fluff. Special shout out to KG. Another year around the sun. Happy birthday, King. Glad to be linked up with you and have you as family locked in for sure. I'm looking forward to this game tomorrow, whether it's against Texas Tech or Arizona. I think we're going to come ready to play. We're going to come with that competitive edge. We're going to play how Cougars know how to play. And that's hard, relentless, looking to win. And shout out to all of our sponsors, everyone that's believing in us, seeing the vision of the original Houston Cougars post-game show, the first. And I'm glad to be a part of this. And we're looking forward to continue to grow. Always, baby. Go Cougs.